Hi, everyone, and welcome. Welcome. And if it's your first time here with us, yes, this is another Lunch and Learn. But this time we're doing this for graduates. I want to say congratulations. We tag this from cap and gown to cash flow. All right. So today I'm not going to take a lot of your time because you have a lot to listen to, but I want to give you an overview. So congratulations again to all the graduates, everyone that is graduating this end of school year, or should I say this graduation season. We wish you a fantastic future. And we want to pray that everything we're going to be sharing with you today, whether you're hearing from me, from Sam, from, I don't want to start mentioning all the names, you're going to meet everybody. Whoever you're going to hear from today, take something with you, because we're going to be loading you with our own experiences and wisdom. And we're not saying we know everything. Matter of fact, you might have some things we can learn from you. So if you have things that you want us to get as feedback, feel free to make a comment or send us an email or text. So let's get back right to it. Now, you've worked hard for your degree. Nobody's going to dispute that. This is part of a celebration in our own little way to usher you into the real world. Your diploma opens the door for you, but the future that you don't see, that we have experienced, that a few of us here have seen, is what we want to share with you. Now, moving forward, what will you do with your first real paycheck? That's a question for you. And a lot of people think about this, and first thing that will come to your mind is I don't know. Anyway, I'll leave it like that. But for me, it was buying all those things I've wanted to buy that my folks couldn't buy for me. I wanted to go straight to the market, to the stores, and buy stuff. That was the first thing that came to my mind. And a lot of us got it wrong. I'm putting this out there, a tale of two graduates. Look at it to the left and to the right. I put it into two columns, different colors. Look at it and picture this yourself. Now, Alex and Jordan, these two graduated on the same day, same degree, same starting salary of $60,000. But Alex does what most graduates won't do. He buys what most graduates would do rather. He buys a $45,000 car because he deserves it. He worked hard for it. So yes, it was justified. Monthly cost for that was, you can see, $700 plus insurance plus gas. So every month that would be about $1,000. After 5 years, that car was worth 18,000 from 45,000. 18,000. So he's lost 27,000 in value, and he has paid a total of $60,000. Net position after that is minus 87,000. Now let's go to Jordan. Picture that. Same salary, except that Jordan decided to invest 45,000 in duplex. He bought a house that has two apartments, sort of, or two units, if you want to call it that. He bought it for 300,000. He lives on one side and he rents out the other side for $1,600. His mortgage for both is $1,800. So if the tenant pays him $1,600, you do the maths. He's going to be paying $200 out of pocket. And so after 5 years, that property is worth, or could be worth, $380,000. Now, over the years, he's able to build $80,000 in equity. He will save $78,000 on rent and get a positive of $80K. Same money, just different choices. $167,000 difference in just 5 years. So which graduate do you want to be? That's my question for you today. You'd either be one of these two guys, depending on the choices you make today, right? Now, there are 7 streams of income. ways that right after graduation, you can make things work for you. The first one I have here is what you earn from that job hopefully you have gotten now or you're going to get soon by God's grace. The next one comes from if you make sure that you don't spend all your money and you invest them into one or two things, shares, you can get dividends from those stocks, bonds, whatever it is that you make sure you ask questions and you learn. And like I said, you'll be hearing from some people on this platform. And I want you to take one or two things from these guys. Look at what you can quickly invest in that can yield you something, no matter how small. It will still be money spent wisely. The next one is interest that comes from your savings if you put a little away every time. The fourth one, as you can see, is royalty from intellectual property. Maybe you're a smart guy that has created an app, or you're partnering with some people to start a business. You can come to us and ask, what are the things I can quickly do? It just depends. So royalties can come from that. You can buy a house like the guy we looked at just now did and rent out one side. You can choose not to do that and just decide, you know what? I want to not rent it out. I just want to live in a big house and just grow equity rather on that house. And after a few years, you can have capital gains on that house. The last one is the profit. Income from owning or running a business. When I left school, I was a makeup artist. I was making something from that. My younger sister was a model when she was in school. And when she came out, she continued her modeling. If you buy a car, it is a liability. If you look on the other side, there are assets that you can buy. You're probably in your 20s. Perhaps you're looking at your 30s. Or maybe if you're not in your 20s, you're in your early 30s. I don't know which one it is. But however, your brain is still developing if you're in your 20s. Those habits are becoming serious habits gradually. But if you can still fix them now, then you would hold on to lifelong habits that will pay you in the long run. Your energy is still at its peak. You're doing things now that, trust me, in another few years, you won't be able to do them, right? So you still have superpower right now. Your time is maximum. Look at it. If you use it well, you have no idea what magic you can create. And then your risk tolerance is at its highest. If you invest $500 monthly in real estate, right? Every month, you get 8% average annual return. 28 years until you are 50. This time you're 22. We're looking at the one on the left side, my left side. The value this adds to you by the time you're 50 is $1 million at least. If you wait till when you're 32, which is 10 years after that, those are the numbers. You would have lost a good chunk of that $1 million. What you'll be getting when you're 50 is $412,000. That's over $500,000. The only difference here is that you're starting 10 years earlier. So now that you know why, let's talk to how. Let's go look at it. Now, house hacking is real. You can live for free if you can house hack. If I knew this, I won't be sitting here telling you with this sorry face of mine. I'm smiling, but trust me, somewhere inside of me, I wish someone had told me some years ago. What is the strategy? You might have heard this before. You probably have seen things like this before. Look, I want you to picture it with the numbers side by side. The strategy is that you buy at least 2 units, like the first example I showed you. If you can buy more than 2, do so, because the more you buy, the better for you. So 2 to 4 units still is recognized in real estate as like you're buying a single family home. It's still in the same category. It's not grouped as a commercial property. Do you understand? And a lender that will give you loan for your single home can still give you the same loan for those 4 units. It's a no-brainer. So you live in one, you rent out the others, and your tenants pay your mortgage, and you just go snoring and sleeping with me. Maybe not quite, right? But you get the picture, right? Your 20s is your foundation. And look, I know that money might not be right here, right now. But if you do this, if you reach out to us, how can I do this? I like this idea, it's interesting. We are here to help you find how to raise that money, including your graduation gift, making sure that not collecting just wristwatches and gift cards, but putting this towards something that makes sense. You're going to be hearing from the mortgage specialist that has some things to share with you. Some of them will include some of the things I've mentioned. You're going to be hearing from a real estate expert, right? You're going to be hearing from a property manager that will chip in 1 or 2 things for you in case you buy those properties and you're worried about how to manage them. We have someone that will help you. You don't even have to let that be part of your problem. All you have to see is money in your account, and then you're taken care of, right? There isn't, I don't want you to have cold feet about it. Here are people that we've worked with in the past. Some of them look like your parents. Some of them look like you and I. Some of them look like people that waited 10 years. Yes. And look, in one of these slots where that house is, can be your face. And if you don't watch your face, it could be your house. House hacking 101. Learn to live and rent for free while you're building equity. I'm going to be talking about that a lot in the next slide. And I'm going to be guiding you on how to do that, so that once you have worked for a few months or at least a year, lender will tell you what it needs to be, what you need to do. We are going to guide you on how to get your house hacking done and how to make this a reality. We are ready to hold your hand. So there's nothing to worry about. So until it's my turn to talk to you again, I don't want to take a lot of your time. I hope I've sown a seed, something that will make you think about not buying a Mercedes Benz, or I don't know. I don't know what car you're thinking about buying, but just hold that thought. And I'll be on the other side. Feel free to add something to this chat or text me. I'm going to add my number shortly. Talk to you soon, okay?
Congratulations to the graduate and welcome to the real life. So I'm just going to talk briefly on some of the tips in investing, whether in real estate, whether in stock market, or whether you have high risk appetite for crypto market. So there are all different type of investment that you can go into. But the old traditional OG thing is like real estate, right? Because we know the value of asset appreciate over time. And for a young graduate, you might think it's not really necessary for you to start doing that right now, but I will advise you as soon as possible you start earning income and you spend like 2 years earning income, you are able to get your credit up to the right par and everything. So you have to actually start thinking of investing in real estate, and you can typically start from like looking at maybe a small town home if you are not comfortable. For example, for me, when I came to this country 2012, right? From 2012 to 2022, before I bought my first property, right? That's like a pace of like 10 years. And within that 10 years, if I estimate how much I've paid in rent, let's put it on an average of 6,000 per year. That's almost $60,000 in rent. And if we look back then, the price of property is 2-bedroom townhome I could like you could have bought it like let's say 100,000 thereabout. If you go and look at, depending on which area you are looking at, right? And if you buy the same, if you are going to buy the same property now, even in uh not high premium area, it's going to be costing you like 270, $300,000. So you see the time value of money as that investment will have grown. So you could actually own something that you pay similar amount of money, and some part of your money goes to the equity, and some part of it goes into interest. As far as your interest, right, is less or equals to your rent, you are not actually losing anything. So you are investing for the future, and you can use this property in the future to do so many things. You can go for duplexes. You live in one, you rent one out. It's like a simple math. So I won't go into the math of all that right now. So that's traditional real estate. Then if you go into stock market, what drives S&P index is like the top 10% stock in it. You don't necessarily have to buy 10,000, 20,000. You can be buying little by little. If you have $100, God so made it. It's so easy now to invest. There is Robinhood app, there is Weibo app, there is Cash app, there's all different vehicles whereby you can use to invest. And there are different instruments. Stock, which you can buy individual stock, S&P 500, ETFs, REIT stock, real estate stock if you don't want to invest in traditional real estate. And when you are investing, number one golden standard rule is never invest any money that you really needed urgently in the next 2 or 3 weeks uh, to spend or for feeding. The earlier you start and investing in the good sectors, right? We have 13 sectors in in the whole of the market. But if you are a very high risk investor, I mean, you could actually buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana. Those three are the top three that the hedge fund are betting on. But if you don't have capacity, or you are not really like high risk tolerance, you can go for, there are some stock now that they are real company. Well, what they do is because of this AI wave, right? They actually deal with crypto mining and data center infrastructure, AI infrastructure. Like cipher mining is this year has grown over 600% return. Make sure if you are investing wisely for the future. If you want very low risk level, very, very low risk level that they call risk-free return asset, that's when you're going to be buying like government treasury treasury bill, government bond, and those ones you typically like 3 to 4% annually. When I graduated from school, so I would some of the things I would have done differently is actually leaving some of my investment to grow over time. So, and a vivid example of one example of them is like DraftKings. I have huge investment in DraftKings at that time when I graduated out of school, but immediately it started turning profit. So I was quickly to let that investment turn it to cash. For my real estate investment or my property, the loan officer, they were asking me to lock in the rate, to lock in the rate. So I was like, don't worry, I don't care what the rate is going to be. I should have listened to them, and I should have locked in the rate. So if I've logged in the rate, I wouldn't have been in like 5 point something rate that I'm in right now. I would have been in 4 point something rate. So the advice here is like listen to the expert. Immediately, I was able to actually invest or buy a real estate. That was immediately I go for it because I lived in a house whereby uh, my in Philly, my landlord is actually a UPenn professor. So I literally manage the house for him. So I know I know all the return on the property, I know the value of the property. But some of the things that are actually shocking that you really need to learn about is more or less like actually looking at the real amortization of your loan, right? And knowing how the math work. So knowing that some part goes to interest, some part goes to your principal, and if you follow their schedule literally, you're actually paying double the price of that house. If you have bonuses that you collect from your company, yeah, instead of buying that Rolex or buying that, changing that car to, when you still have a car that you can use to move, changing it to like a GLX, LX, Lexus, put that money as an additional payment on your property investment so that it shifts you upward in that schedule. So you save a lot of interest if you are not able to own a property, but you can own a stock. So if you can own a stock, or you can uh, own like a small piece of stock, $100, $200 that you go to restaurant, you eat, actually does a lot of things by the time it grows. So, and time value of money. The value of $100 today is not the value of $100 in tomorrow or next tomorrow. So investing now is always going to be better off, but not investing now is an opportunity missed, or there's an opportunity cost also attached to that. For example, now interest rates has risen. So if you wait till later, you might actually end up waiting forever.
Whenever you're post-grad, you're looking for your job, somewhere to live, maybe even roommates. You might be even moving to a new city, and everything's kind of changing. And it's also super fun at the same time because it's something new. Buying a home is probably one of the top things that I would say I would do, and I wish I could go back and do, just because it builds you so much equity from the beginning. We have multiple programs with CMG that can help you get in a house right away without having to have 20% down payment or anything like that you just might not have coming out of college, like a majority of people. One program is our Home Fund It program. It works a lot like GoFundMe. Really, it's crowdsourcing for down payment. So if you have any family and friends that are wanting to get you grad gifts, this is a opportunity for them to be able to help you with your down payment. You make your whole screen, or you make your own profile. You'll have a picture, and you can kind of say where you graduated from, what your major is, what your future looks like, where you're going to work, or anything that you want to add on there. It's super cool, and you can actually share it. I'm pretty sure you get $20 if you share it to Facebook, $20 if you share it to Instagram within the first 24 hours, which is super cool. And CMG actually matches up to $2,000. So if you raise up to $2,000, then CMG will actually match that. So you would have $4,000 going towards your down payment, which is super cool, and a huge chunk of that down payment, super helpful. Another program is our rate rebound program. So if you do close with us, we actually can refinance you after 6 months and up to 5 years with all lender fees waived. So say that you close right after post-grad, you might not love your rates, or maybe your credit score gets better and the market's looking a lot better. We can always refinance you with all those lender fees waived, which a lot of our clients take advantage of that program as well. One more program is our down payment assistance program. A ton of post-grad clients use this program. We can cover up to 5%, so that can cover your down payment and also closing costs, which is super awesome. And sometimes even whenever there's seller concessions. We can even buy down the rate a little bit, just because it's our in-house program. T-Shack is another down payment assistance program, and they can do grants as well, which is super helpful. So reach out to us today, and I would love to help you get in your house. People get really excited whenever they first start making like real money, in quotations, just as you have a career, it changes a little bit than having jobs in college and stuff. So it gets exciting and you do want to buy things. Buying a car is definitely helpful, but I would not go all out and put all of your money into a car whenever you can be putting that money into a house. And whenever you buy the house, maybe later on you can get that car that you really like. But I would definitely just, a house is much more stable and you can have equity in your house versus a car. And another thing that I would pay attention to as well is whenever you start your career, don't get a bunch of credit cards. I see it a lot, and it's totally fine if you manage them well. But your credit does matter a ton in the home buying industry, and it really does matter in other little spots in your life. So definitely pay attention to that and try to keep your credit in line as best as possible.
If a graduate comes with like a $40,000, how will that help them in buying a house with Kate, for example?
Yeah,
Give
so
us an
that could
idea.
actually, so an FHA loan, say you're putting 3.5% down and closing costs, that $40,000 can be your closing cost and your down payment, and that could help you move into your house. And your mortgage payment really just would depend on where your credit score is and what's the rates are that day, and also the purchase price of your house.
So if we look at it that the person wants to purchase a $350,000 house, something like that, and the rate at that day, say for today, is what, 6 point, what are we today?
Yeah, like 6.25 probably.
Okay, so let's say the rate is actually today's rate, and they want to buy a 350,000. How do they use that $40,000 in that scenario?
So your $40,000 would actually cover your down payment and your closing cost. And that would be enough to help you move into the house. And then from there, if you find a house, I can definitely calculate the exact amount that your monthly payment would be. So with FHA, which would be 3.5% down at a $400,000 purchase price, we'd be looking at a payment of $2,658.50. And that's not covering any HOA dues or insurance or taxes, because that just depends on the area. So that would be included as well. And the closing cost would probably come out to $25,000. So you would even have some leftover money to maybe put towards that car that you want, or just have it as backup cash reserves for your mortgage. That is for $400,000 FHA loan, so 3.5% down at a 6.5 interest rate.
So what if they want to do like a conventional loan and not FHA loan? Is there a difference?
Yeah, so conventional loan is really heavily based on your credit score and then also your down payment, how the pricing goes, because it's not a government loan. So that one kind of differs really from person to person. So FHA is really geared towards first-time home buyers. It's not only for first-time home buyers. People can purchase an FHA even though they've previously had an FHA loan. It's normally 3.5% down or 5% down, just depending on the buyer and how much money they want to put. Conventional loan is very heavily based on credit score and down payment. I actually was just working with this guy last week. He came to me and he was like, I just got this new job. He has been post grad for about 5 years, but he was like, I just got this job and he's making a lot more money than his previous job, which is his first entry level job out of college. And he's like, I really want to invest it in something. I'm done renting. My money's going to this landlord and I'm not getting anything out of it. And I was like, absolutely. So he sent me Zillow houses and I kind of figured out his max purchase price for everything. And he actually ended up contracting yesterday, which is super exciting because he's been saving up. So that's awesome for him.
So considering this economy, how things are right now for a lot of people, would you still encourage a young person to buy a home first, like right now?
Yes, absolutely. Honestly, even before May, I've talked to a ton of people, and whenever investors are out, you really know it's the time to buy because they're going to buy at the best bargain that they can. And right now, you really can get a lot of seller concessions back rather than whenever rates drop and people start raising the purchase prices of their house. You don't want to get caught up all in that, especially like whenever it was COVID. We're seeing a lot of people wanting to move, but their equity in their house has gone down so much that they don't have equity in their house because they paid $200,000 above the real purchase price. So those people are kind of in a stuck limbo situation. So I would definitely say right now is the time to buy. Don't sit on the sidelines. And I would definitely start looking, getting all of your stuff together, get your finances in line, and kind of know where you're looking and what you're looking for. So whenever it comes up, you'll know it's the time. Really, to get qualified, it comes about your debt to income ratio, which is probably the most important. FHA is the most lenient on debt to income ratios. Your credit score plays a factor as well. And then also, we like to see a 2-year job history. And job history can include school. We would just ask you for your school transcripts to cover those 2 years, especially if you're just graduating or maybe you do have a job lined up. Then you can send us your job offer letter that says your salary or hourly rate, and we'll be able to use that, which is super awesome. And maybe you found a house and maybe it doesn't work out. That's fine. We really never say, no, you can't buy this house or you don't qualify. We give you a path to qualify. Or maybe you need a little bit of credit work or you have no credit history, then we can definitely help you build that. We've been with some people for almost over a year now, and we've had 2 this year that started building their credit up and improving it and boosting it to get to the limit. And both of them just bought a house this past year, which has been super cool to see.
So the credit limit, what's the worst case scenario for anybody?
So FHA does take 580, but again, you have to have a super strong file. The rest of it, I have seen it go through before. Typically, though, we like it to be above 620 range. That's normally where it'll take a majority of the time, but 680 plus will get you the best pricing, and even higher than that, especially on FHA, will get you super great rate pricing. Some people, whenever they're looking for a house, they go out and buy a car, or say we pre-approve them, they're under contract, going through underwriting, we do the hard credit pool, and a new car comes up. Do not buy anything crazy, no furniture, no washer and dryer, don't take out any new loans, no cars, because all of that does affect your debt to income ratio. And if that goes out of line, then that can cost you moving into your house on time. So that is definitely the biggest one. And also the debt to income ratio messes with your credit score. So say you go out and do a car loan, they do a hard credit pull on you as well. So then that might drop your score and you might not get the best rate pricing anymore. Or maybe it brings you below the limit and now your file is not going through the underwriting system anymore. Those are the top 2 factors that I see a ton. And then also sometimes people will take job gaps or stop their job or switch jobs and they have like a little bit of a gap and they don't tell us. I'm always an advocate for just being upfront. If you lost your job, I always just say, do you have something else lined up? If so, just send me an offer letter and we'll figure it out, rather than us going through underwriting and it comes 5 days before closing and you tell me that you don't have pay stubs anymore because you lost your job. Being upfront is probably the biggest thing, as well as don't go buy anything crazy or any cars out of the blue once you get pre-approved.
Well, guys, just super excited to be here with everybody today, and I have so much respect for Tammy and her team. And I know she really believes in financial literacy for people. She really believes in educating people on multiple streams of income, on teaching people, how to go from trading time for money to really helping you have money work for you. And I really just love Tammy's heart, in serving others and helping others and mentoring people and just helping people grow. So I'm just honored to get a chance to spend a few minutes with you today. My name is Jeff Street. I live in Highland Village, Texas, which is northwest Dallas. And I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I haven't had a job since I was 19 years old. I'm 46 years old today. So 27 years being self-employed and owning a business. And when we talk about entrepreneurship, so much of entrepreneurship is your mindset. And I'm such a big believer that your attitude determines your altitude in anything in life. See, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. So I just want to applaud you for being with us here today, because it tells me that you're looking to grow. See, the first step to success is making a decision that you want it. Somebody told me years ago, he said, Jeff, success is a choice. How bad do you want it? And I was somebody that from a really young age just wanted to grow, wanted to develop. And they said, look, you got to find a mentor. They said, seek mentorship. See, when you can find a mentor in anything you do in life, whether it's real estate, whether it's entrepreneurship of any kind, whether it's as an investor, if you can find somebody that's already got where you want to go, they can help you navigate the landmines out there that take you from the starting point to the finish line in anything that you want to do. So for me, I was always looking for mentorship. And I met a mentor of mine when I was 19 years old. He was actually somebody that had a lot of success in real estate. And he told me, he said, Jeff, leaders are readers. He said, you will be the same person 5 years from now, except for the books you read, the seminars you attend, and the people you hang around with. See, there's something called the law of association. The people you hang around with, that's who you become. And one of the first books that he had me read was a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And I'm sure some of you guys have read that book. And Robert's second book is a book called The Cash Flow Quadrant. And this was a book that was really life-changing for me because it had me look at money in a different way. So I want to share a few things with you here today that were really helpful for me when I first became an entrepreneur years and years and years ago. Well, so guys, this was something that, again, when I heard this, it just made me think different. The cash flow quadrant, there's the employees, the self-employed, the business owners, and the investors. So these four different quadrants. An employee is somebody that works for somebody else, that trades time for money. They have no financial leverage. They only make money when they're working. And they report to somebody else. Self-employed people are somebody that maybe own their own business, but it's more like they own their own job. And so they have to invest their own time to make money. Now, 95% of the people out there, they fall into one of these two categories on the left-hand side of the quadrant. 5% of the population is in the right-hand side of the quadrant, where you're a business owner or you're an investor. And when it comes to being a business owner, what the book talked about is it's not just owning the business, it's having a system that works for you. So how do you have a system that works for you, that whether you're actually working or not, you have a business that's still making you money? And then I, as an investor, and I know many of you came here today to learn about being an investor where you can have money working for you, where you can truly create passive income, where your income is not dependent on your physical presence. But again, instead of trading time for money, you can have money work for you. Warren Buffett said it best. He said, until you find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. And unfortunately, most people are on the work until they die program. So at 19 years old, I quit my last job that I ever had. Now, I'm not telling you to do that. I wasn't married. I didn't own a home at the time. I didn't have a lot of risk by becoming a full-time entrepreneur. For me, I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I knew that I wanted to build something of my own. How do you get from the left side to the right side? He said the two biggest reasons why most people never go from the left-hand side of the quadrant to the right-hand side of the quadrant. Number one is fear of failure. That's why having mentorship is so important, because mentorship can eliminate that fear factor for people. And the second piece is lack of capital. A lot of people want to have their own business. They want to build something for themselves, but maybe they don't have that money to invest. But what I found is if you can get yourself into that business owner quadrant and you can create reoccurring revenue, you can now use that money to invest in other things like real estate or other assets. My wife and I, we're senior vice presidents with a network marketing company by the name of ACN. And he talks about how one of the reasons why he recommends that new entrepreneurs get involved in network marketing is it's very low cost of barrier of entry to get started. Typically, it's under $500 for somebody to get started and own a business in the network marketing world. So the company I represent, I just want to share a few minutes with you about it because there's a lot of synergy between our company and the real estate world. You know, I met Temi because I went and I did an event for her real estate company about leadership and personal development. ACN has been in business for 33 years. They do business all throughout the United States and Canada. They specialize in customer acquisition. They have millions of customers and they've done billions of dollars in sales. My mentor told me 20 years ago, he said, Jeff, find something you like, make it your hobby, find something the masses can't live without, and make it your business. And that's why I was so excited about this concept, because I knew whether I did this or not, I was going to pay these bills for the rest of my life. Now, the reason ACN can do what they do is they use a network marketing channel of distribution. What does that mean? They eliminate the advertising costs. They use independent business owners just like myself to have our own website or own online store where we can create more options for consumers and a business opportunity for people just like us. Now, remember what I talked about was one of the top reasons why most people never go into business ownership is lack of capital. And in network marketing, again, the common person can afford to get started because the barrier of entry is typically below $500 for somebody to get started in a business like this. Now with ACN, it's actually only $299 one time for somebody to get started. And there's a $25 a month business support fee. See, the hardest part of winning a race is getting off the starting line. But it's so much easier to get off the starting line when you've got somebody that's got their arm around you saying, let's go do this together. And so with what I shared with you today, if this is something that you're like, wow, this is something I'm interested in, I could see how this could work for me, for my wife and I and our team, we have an amazing system of mentorship. And I know that that's something that Temi has seen firsthand. She knows multiple people that are part of her real estate group that are also involved with us and have talked to her about our system and our training and support. So, you know, one of the greatest lessons I ever learned in my life is that one source of income is too close to no sources of income. And so I love that from a very young age that I was really taught the concept of multiple streams of income. You know, at the end of the day, too many people are just trading time for money. And I'm just very blessed at a very young age that I learned about being an entrepreneur. And another thing that my mentor taught me is he said, listen, in anything you do in life, you got to have a strong reason why you're doing it. See, if you don't have a strong reason, you'll only do anything for a season. But if your why is big enough, the how to is irrelevant. Because at the end of the day, life's going to go out and hit you in the mouth. You know, challenges are going to happen. Obstacles are going to happen. So whatever you do in life, whether it's a business like this, network marketing, whether it's real estate investing, whether it's starting your own company of any kind, there's going to be more lonely days as an entrepreneur than maybe there ever would be as an employee. And so that's why having that strong reason why is so significant. And I think we'll agree, AI, unfortunately, is going to take over many jobs of many of Americans. So what are things that you can do that you can make yourself AI proof? Well, one is obviously, you know, being in the trade space. One is being a real estate investor, you know, having, you know, properties, making your, you know, creating value for other people. Another one is, again, network marketing, what like I've been talking about today. So what is something that you can do where whatever it is that you're doing, you're not going to see technology overtake it. And so again, finding a good mentor, finding somebody that can stretch you, finding somebody that can help you grow, and having that strong reason why, and having the work ethic and the desire. How do you have that burning white hot desire that's going to allow you to go out and fight through all the emotional roller coasters of life? I can't teach you that. That's got to be something that's there within. But I believe you being here today just shows me that you're somebody that has that desire to go out and do more. Remember, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So go out and be different. Go out and stretch yourself. Go out and become more, because when you become more, you can attract more and you can be that light for other people.